This is me after 5 hours and 45 minutes of doing absolutely nothing. So, how the heck did I get myself in this situation? Well, it starts with a confession. For the past 5 years, I don't think my brain has gone a single minute without being stimulated by something. I'm not sure exactly when it started, but at some point I realized that I can't just exist. I can't shower without a podcast playing, I can't eat without watching a video, and I can't fall asleep without doom scrolling until my eyes literally give out on me. But I keep telling myself it's not actually a problem, that I'm choosing to be like this, and that I could simply stop whenever I want to. But talk is cheap, so I decided to prove it. This is the story of how I did nothing for 8 hours just to prove to myself that I could. The rules are simple: an empty room, a chair, a timer, and no talking, sleeping, or reading chat. I've had this idea for a while now, but I've never really thought about what it would actually feel like. Because if I did, I don't think I'd have gone through with it. I figured I'd just deal with it when I had to, and the moment was finally here. And let me just say, I really should have done some prep. This is exactly when I realized what I was actually in for. As my eyes locked onto the timer, I genuinely could not comprehend how only 4 minutes had passed. People say time is relative, but you truly have no idea how much so until you actively try to do nothing. Seconds felt like minutes, minutes felt like hours, and hours were about to feel like days. The realization hit me so hard that I actually started to panic. Not because of the moment itself, but because I finally understood the monumental task in front of me. It took a while to process and accept everything, but eventually I was able to calm myself down and settle in for the ride. The first 60 minutes were definitely not easy, but at the very least, the experience felt strange enough to be somewhat interesting. My mind was fresh, and I did my best to compartmentalize and take things 1 minute at a time. I still could not get over how long each and every minute was taking to pass, but eventually the hour mark finally hit. I couldn't help but celebrate a little. This was the first moment I actually felt like I made a dent into the challenge. But the celebration didn't last. As mentioned before, I did not really prep for this challenge. And two things I completely forgot to count for were, one, how cold your body gets when you do nothing, and two, just because I decided to do nothing, that didn't mean my bladder would do nothing as well. My body usually runs pretty warm, but now that I was just sitting still, I started getting uncomfortably cold. I debated getting up and putting something on, but I was concerned that it would count as doing something. I started thinking very seriously about the possibility of toughing it out for 7 hours and actually decided that I could probably do it, but holding my pee for 7 more hours was something I certainly wouldn't be able to do. Seeing as I had to get up to go to the bathroom anyways, I decided wearing another layer would be fine and wouldn't necessarily go against the spirit of the challenge. And just like that, we had the most action-packed sequence of the day. After a quick bathroom break and outfit change, I got back to, well, doing nothing. I was finally comfortable, but that comfort came at a cost. The past hour had actually flown by because I had something to think about. Now, without any problems to solve, I finally had to deal with the nothingness. After some thought, I figured the only way I was going to get through this was with some meditation. There was just one issue though. I've never actually meditated in my life, and while attempting to meditate for the first time, I realized that I don't think it's something you can just do if you don't know how. I tried my hardest to let my mind wander, but it simply refused to go anywhere. My mind was just a blank space. So I just sat. I sat and stared at the timer on my screen, moving second by second by second. It felt so uncomfortable that at certain points I literally wanted to throw up. But after some time, I finally thought of something that might help. See, the week before I did this, I completed another challenge. One where I memorized 1010 digits of pi. Or rather, instead of memorizing the digits themselves, I memorized an elaborate movie script, where each scene represented 6 of those 1010 numbers. So I conveniently had an entire movie complete with 169 unique scenes all ready to go in my head. And that's how I got through the next hour and a half. I played back the entire movie in my head and mentally recited 1010 digits of pi. The halfway mark was where the challenge officially went to the next level. That's not to say every single moment of this challenge wasn't already difficult, but this was the point where everything started to compound and really hurt. See, initially doing nothing seems like a passive activity, but doing it for a prolonged period actually requires constant effort. The only shot I had at doing nothing for 8 hours was by compartmentalizing and breaking down the remaining time into hour, half hour, 10-minute, and minute segments, and dealing with them all individually. But after fighting so many individual battles, I finally reached my breaking point. The last thing I had up my sleeve was my ult. Throughout my life, I found self-loathing to be an incredibly powerful tool. Now, I'm not encouraging this type of behavior, but I'm just being honest. Whenever I'm going through something difficult or find the need to push myself, instead of using an encouraging voice, I go for the complete opposite. I call myself names, hurl insults, and I'm just the biggest asshole to myself. That's just what I found works best for me. So that's exactly what I did. From this point on, I honestly lost count of how many times I repeated the words, "I hate myself," and "I'm such an idiot" in my head. I think I desperately needed an antagonist to fight against, and the only person available was myself. With a new strategy in place, hours 5 through 7 weren't actually terrible. The silence that had been so deeply uncomfortable was filled with familiar thoughts, and I was able to really lock in mentally. The only thing that broke me out of my self-loathing cycle was seeing the timer cross the 7-hour mark. This is the first moment I finally started seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. A huge part of what made this entire challenge so difficult was my anxiety about venturing into the unknown. Until now, I had no idea what I was actually going to feel like in the late stages of the challenge, so I was constantly fighting both my current and future problems. Now that I'd made it to this point, all of that anxious energy instantly washed away. I knew what I'd been through, I knew how much was left, and I knew that I wasn't going to fail this challenge. I was mentally and physically exhausted, but I knew that I could tank just one more hour. And it was at this point that I think I accidentally started meditating. I stopped feeling the need to fight and force my mind in a certain direction, and for the first time, sitting alone and doing nothing felt completely fine. My mind felt free and weightless. I started reflecting about the journey I'd just been through, and I couldn't help but smile as the timer moved closer and closer to the 8-hour mark. The final hour was almost like an extended celebration, and before I knew it, the timer hit the 8-hour mark, and it was all over. That was so fucked. Okay, I underestimated that severely. I knew I was fucked from like the first 3 minutes. I'm telling you guys, time is weird. Time is a fucking crazy thing. I feel like I was in like a genjutsu. I like look around, I look back, and it's like 10 seconds have passed. Like literally 10 seconds. Why did I decide to do this? Dude, I don't know.